All right, I talked too much last time. I gotta go faster. All right, so here you have just basic stats, the level which is computed based on the stats. You have name, character ID. This is a unique ID. This is a Boolean value that's going to be used in a later function. Uh, this is default constructor, overloaded constructor, virtual destructor, get type function for the container class, which I use later on. This is safe states container class. Basic getters, and then this is the print function right here. I don't think there's anything too notable in this class. This is the implementation of it. It's basic stuff again. This is just like, default values. Only thing of note is that there's some if statements here because there's like limitations with the stats. You can't, the attack, health, and speed can't add up to over 15. The name can't be like empty, can't be an empty name. Otherwise, it's just regular stuff, regular overloaded constructor, taking the parameters, incrementing ID, making unique ID, get type. These are all getters. There's output function. That stuff's simple. Here is the user bear function. So it's basically the same as a character function, or the character, sorry, user bear class, basically the same as character class, except it has a vector of integers, previous battles, that stores character IDs. And the purpose of that is because I guess I'll go over the functions in the implementation to keep it easier. That made it worse last time. So here's the battle function. So you have some basic battle stats here like health and damage, and then you have a Boolean battle ready. So that Boolean value is going to be determined by if this takes an enemy as a parameter, right? So if the enemy's character ID is already in the user bear's previous battles vector, then that means that the user already fought that enemy, and I don't want repeat battles. So this is just a for loop iterating through the user bear's previous values vector, just making sure that it doesn't match the character ID, because remember it's a unique character ID. So making sure it doesn't match the character ID of the enemy. If it doesn't work, then you're gonna get like an output at the bottom saying you already fought this guy. But if it does work and you've never fought this guy before, then you go into battle, right? Uh, Speed. This is the first, so we have a if statement. If you're faster than the enemy, then all that really does is you're just going to be attacking first. So you got to do while loop here that goes until one of you reaches 0 health. If you reach 0 health, then you just get an output message saying you died, basically. But if you win, then that enemy's character ID gets put into your previous battle's vector, so you can't fight them again. And then your stats leveled up. This is all These are all the same. This is just your health, or your stats can't go above 10. That's like the max. So this is making sure your stat isn't already 10. This is making sure that it won't go over 10. And if it does, then it'll just default it to 10. And this is just increasing it. And this is the same for these three. And then you get an output message about winning. Then this second chunk is the exact same, but instead the enemy attacks first, because this is if your speed is less than the enemy. And then you get an output that still it's the output that you won. This is the output that you already fought this guy. Um, this is the talk function. So this takes a character as a parameter. And first you got to check that the name is valid. That's the whole purpose for the valid name function. And then you got to static cast the first character of that character's name to an int, so you get the ASCII value, and then you modulo that by 4, and that'll give you just a couple different output statements, just talking about stuff. Here, if this character, I guess if their name is invalid, then you get this. I'm pretty sure if their name is invalid, you get this. And if their name is invalid, you get this. If the character is invalid, you get this. This is just a basic setter for name, setter for stats. Oh wait, this one's not super basic, but it's basic. It's just making sure that the stats don't add up to over 15, like I said, and that each stat doesn't go over 10. This is just the same print function. This is the getter default or overloaded constructor. This it's the same as it is for user variables or for character. This is the enemy class. This is very similar to the character class. Really, only difference is just in name, because I just made it to differentiate between enemies and characters, because I don't want you fighting characters. I want you fighting enemies. And then the default constructor is a little different. It just has a different default name. I could have done this otherwise, just making like I guess a Boolean like enemy or enemy equals true for characters. But I mean, I still read. I got like four classes, so I guess it's fine anyways. This is the container class that I use for saving. So you have game members, this is the array of pointers. I basically modeled this after what Professor Rincon did in class for the classroom. So you have like the default constructor, overload constructor, default destructor, print functions, and save and load file. So here's the implementation. This is just the default constructor, taking the size, everything else is just set to kind of default values. Is overloaded constructor. This one's a little more complicated, of course. So you request memory for a new array of pointers here, and then you go through the array, or that you go through the given save states array of pointers, check if they're pointing to null, and if not, then you got to access that their get type function and use that to determine what what object you're going to request memory for. So if it's a user bear, you request memory for a user bear, enemy, enemy, character, character, and you just you static cast that to whatever is appropriate, like user bear here, enemy here, and then you call the overloaded constructor for that. So pretty cool stuff. Um, there's an overloaded destructor. Same stuff that we've been doing. You got checking that as no pointer go. But there's the only thing here is that you need the for loop to go through the array and make sure that you deallocate, or I guess you assign each of them to null, or you delete the game. You delete the pointer, just deleting memory. But you have to make sure you go through the array because each thing is a pointer. This is the save file. You're basically just you make a output stream, or I think input stream. You make an object to read or to write the information into a file. You're iterating through it. I don't know if I did this right, but this is as good as I can get because this is the stuff that was keeping me up. This is the hang up. So you got while loop. This is the output. Or this is the output. You're just kind of reading from each line. The good thing is that you know how many lines there are because you created the file. It's just based on the amount of game members. So this is just reading the files, and each game member is on their own line. So that's what we got.